I am Queen Mixxy. I was born in Brooklyn, raised in Queens. Both my parents are from Haiti, and I am the CEO of Queen Mixxy Media and the founder of the Lydia Foundation.
I'm Paul Austin. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. My parents, Felix Austin and Joyce Austin, were born in Guyana. My father was from Berbice. My mother was from Georgetown. Professionally, I'm a chef, and I own my own catering company, The Missing Ingredient.
How you doing? My name is Randy Moore, also known as Real Time. I'm the CEO of Real Time Fitness Wars. I have 4 children, lovely children, and 1 grandson.
Hi, my name is Chloe Love. I'm the CEO of Chloe's Corner and Brook Brothers Music and the founder of Women with Voices.
My name is Evander Moore. I'm 28. I got 3 kids. I'm from the ages from 3, 5, and 8.
Yo, what's good? I'm Lenny Mr. Elmore. I bet you want to know, but I ain't gonna tell you my age. Ha! Now I'm 45.
Hi, my name is Jaden and I am 7 years old.
Hi, my name is Gabby and I am 5 years old.
My name is Matthew Allen. I am the father of Christopher Allen and the son of Adon Allen Jr.
Hi, my name is Peter Cubans Richards. I wouldn't say my age. I'm here because I was invited, on the Father's Day special. What I do, I'm into television and into media, music, artists, radio, everything that's entertainment. About myself, I love to eat, I love to party, I love to go out, I love to have a good time, and from young, my mother taught me to never stress, and to not stress is to go out, have a good time, come home when you go out, but be back on time.
Well, the reason I created this tribute for Black fathers, I know society has not had the best version of Black fathers or even showcased it enough. And I felt like it would have been easy for me to just do Mother's Day, and not saying that mothers don't do a significant part, but I also respect the parts that fathers play.
One of my favorite moments with my dad, I would say, is, there's so many, but me and my dad had a very strange relationship growing up. Of course, I'm a Brooklyn kid, so I got into a lot of problems, trouble, and, any kid, any teenager. But I feel like one of my favorite moments is, I think after I wrote the book, the last book that my first book, he was so excited and he's like, you can do whatever you want to do. Oh my God, this book has a cereal bar. It was a cereal bar for him at the end, but it just made it so real for him how far I've come and our journey and the things that we've gone through, and that realization of him seeing me and my full potential, I feel was like the best moment I've had with him thus far.
I always loved when I was really little when he would take us to the Syracuse-Georgetown games in the late 80s, early 90s when that rivalry was really popping. And I got to see Donovan McNabb play his senior year at quarterback at Syracuse when I was in high school. And my dad works for Anheuser-Busch, so we got to be in this special Budweiser box. And I got to eat all these cool little spreads of sandwich meats and crackers and cookies. And those are the times that are really, really fun that I have with him growing up.
One of my favorite times with my dad is going to the barber with him, because I have more time with him and I get to get the haircuts that I want.
My first thing to do with my dad is eat fruits with him.
One of the things that I learned from my dad is how to ride my dirt bike and play chess with him.
My dad taught me how to ride my bike without training wheels.
Well, I feel as a grandfather now, it's just another whole level of love. To see my beautiful grandson, Legend, who is 8 months, and my beautiful granddaughter, Anaya, which is 15 months, it's amazing to see that this is my legacy continuing on. And it's a beautiful thing. And I love them, they're so yummy, and I just love to hold them I can do this here. You can go back. When it's time to go, but no, I love them dearly. I love them dearly, and their parents are wonderful.
My dad told me when I was going to become a father that you have fatherly instincts that are already inside you that are dormant. And when you become a father, they'll turn on like a light switch. And all you need to do is trust your instincts and just remember half of the things that I taught you, and you'll be just fine. And that's exactly what I've been doing the past 10 years, is following my instincts and remembering half of the things that my dad showed me when he was being a dad to me when I was a kid. And it's doing okay so far.
Well, my pops, all my life I know him always do music. He played the guitar. He did a lot of rock and roll soul back in the days. At that point, we wasn't into music. We just was around music. And he owned a club, which was very popular in Brooklyn at the time. And he raised 4 kids, on his own, while doing music. I mean, he couldn't follow his career dreams because he had 4 children to raise. But he made sure that he always kept music with him and kept music around us.
The Lydia Foundation actually started during the pandemic. I started it because my dad was very, very sick in the beginning of the pandemic. He actually got COVID and had pneumonia and was in the hospital. And I'm not gonna lie, I started panicking and freaking out, completely freaking out. My dad has been very impactful in my life. So I was just very worried of how he was gonna end up. So I started thinking about it and started analyzing for myself, me as this grown woman, terrified to lose her dad, and then realizing how many other people lost their parents and lost their dads, lost their moms during the pandemic, and it just started getting crazy, and I felt like I needed to do something. I worried about my community and the village around me. How were they going to get resources? Who was going to be their support? So I started the Lydia Foundation as a way to just give back to the community by, servicing kids with just basic school supply needs, because I wasn't seeing anything or enough of it to understand what are these kids going to do. Some people might even lost 2 kids, 2 parents actually, and it's what are they going to do? Who are they going to find? Who is their resources? And I've always been in a family village scenario with my family, so I feel like I can contribute to that in my community by creating a village in a community that all the children within there have resources.
My dad is a self-sacrificing man, a kind man, an understanding man, a man with a tremendous sense of humor and sense of empathy and patience, an even-tempered man, a man that demands and commands respect from those. And those are all things that I aspire to be. And I fall short pretty expansively. But that's the one thing that I'm okay with failing at every day, is trying to be as good as him as a dad.
I can't, because I feel like Swiss is low-key. I don't want him to know, but I feel like Swiss is definitely the more maternal parent when it comes to everything. But he comes from a big family, so that's all he knows is family, nourishment, and just having each other's back and raising the kids and looking out for each other. So he implements that heavy in the household across the board, not just with our kids, but with the whole family. And it's funny to see the stereotypes that are placed upon Black men as, you know, they have kids and they don't marry the women. This is also my husband. He's not, you know, my child's father. He's my actual husband. And that they have these kids and they don't take care of them. And watching him he just breaks all those stereotypes. He doesn't just break them, he shatters them. So it's a proud thing to see. I'm just so proud of him as a parent, and I'm just grateful for my boys that they have him as a father. I'm really happy for them.
So my son's father and I have been friends since we were 15 years old, and he has definitely taken a lot of the place of where my dad is protective of me. There's not a time where I can say that he hasn't been there for me. Obviously, we all go through rough patches, but the times that were important, he was there. You know, when we were just friends and I was like just starting college in engineering, you know, I got diagnosed with cervical cancer. And I kid you not, every single appointment he came. It didn't matter what time, what day, you know, my surgery was getting rescheduled. He would, you know, book off the next day and make sure I was there. You know, even when I got attacked in the street, and this was just us high school as friends, he would literally come on his day off and come to my job and pick me up and take the bus and walk me home anytime I got off of work after that day, and walk and take the bus back home. And that's literally what his purpose was. So I appreciate and value all those times, and, you know, even in the hard days.
I learned how to get fit around my dad. My father introduced me into fitness. My pops was incarcerated. Before he was incarcerated, he was a little bony little boy, man. And, you know, when I used to visit him on the trailer visits, he became very, you know, stocky. And he used to always make me do push-ups and do a lot of workouts every time I used to visit him on trailer visits. And I was like 10 years old, 11 years old at that time. So he always made sure that I, you know, stayed on top of my health and taught me how to, you know, stay fit.
My mom's broke out of the situation and left them with 4 kids to take care of us. On kind of like, she wanted to explore other things. She didn't want to, I don't think she wanted to be the in-home mom at the time. And my pops had the 4 of us, and he had to figure out what type of father he was. And he was a musician, a musician that did gigs, like whole band all over the city. And he was like a sous chef, like the second guy, the guy who helped the chef. So I found that out later, that he was doing that when we were kids. So he's juggling those 2 jobs and 4 kids. But I remember him like trying to figure out how to keep us together, and we spent a lot of time with our grandmother, and my aunt Hattie would come over and help. And then he met my stepmother, who helped him start a social club, and then he was able to spend more time with us. I remember all like that. So the one thing I did learn from my father is don't give up, figure it out. A lot of things you will learn on the fly, and know what you want. That usually will help you out with whatever you need to be doing. So that's the one thing I learned from my pops. Know what you want.
Yeah, my mother, she had men's in her life here and there, but I don't know, I'll take that back. Rest in peace, Jeff. That was somebody that really played the father role in my life. He passed away, I want to say 3 years ago. But other than that, I want to say my 3 uncles.
I grew up where I had my dad, but I also had brothers. I also had cousins. I had friends. I had mentors that were always in my life. And that gave a significantness for me in just showing the power of having Black fathers in your life. You know, I know every situation is not the same for every single person, but I do understand the power of those father figures being in your life, especially Black fathers. There's a thing of where they can't even, I can only imagine walking outside and not ever being sure you're going to be able to walk through the doors again at the end of the night.
A father figure that wasn't my dad, I would say my Uncle John. My Uncle John always looked up to us. You know, he was into music as well. You know, he tried to manage us. You know, when we started our music career. He's always been there for us during the time when my pops was incarcerated.
All right, some of the favorite moments with my uncle, I would say them just showing me new things like games and trying to raise me I wanted to put that too. Taking me places that I haven't been, that, you know, fortunately my father gonna take me, showing me things, holidays, because, you know, Christmas, everything used to be at their house, and not having a father there, them taking that role, those was like my favorite moments.
My father and I don't see eye to eye. Maybe it's his deeds or mine. Maybe it's just men in their pride. I'm thankful for the life he's given me. I just wish we had more time just to discuss the constant questions that dance around my mind. He told me I could be anything, and he knew it was a lie. Told me that I could be the very greatest, and we were barely getting by. There were days that were so dark, the fridge didn't even have a light. We could only get what the moon would reflect and hope we survived the night. I would fall, he would tell me to get up and never bandage my cuts. Sometimes I wondered if he even loved me enough. Maybe I wasn't the best kid because the love was only tough, but sometimes I feel unbreakable from being raised so tumble and rough. I won't give up. I guess the fire has caused me to be refined and forged, made me brave enough to pave a road never traveled before, made me keep climbing up, and now the ceiling is my floor. Now I believe that I can be, even being battered and flawed. I was prepared to jump off a cliff. My father said he didn't want me not to. He just wanted to show me what this parachute do, just in case I've got to. One day in conversation, I said to my father, I remember most of the times he wasn't there. I remember most of the fight, it felt as if he didn't care. I told him that I needed him, that I was brave, but I was scared. He looked away from me as if he didn't care. Looked like he was going to shed a tear. I asked, how come you didn't tell me of the pain and pressure that I'd face here? He inhaled as if he was getting prepared, and then said, I never told you because my failures ain't your failures, and my fears should not be your fears. At that moment, I realized he had been the realest the whole time. That conversation changed my father and me to my father and I. My father and I.
There was a particular time that really stood out for me with my dad, and I don't know, I think sometimes I think my dad's a superhero low-key. He is just a jokester. He is very, a great personality. I guess that's where I got my personality from. And I was 16 and I was a cashier at Key Food, and for some reason he came that night and he had to drop off something to the Key Food. And I had the last customer came, and then the manager was going to the office, and as the door opened, the guy runs off my line, pulls out a gun, and robs the store. My dad immediately got into action, grabbed me, grabbed whatever associates, got into the back of the store, made sure everyone was safe in the quarter, and called the cops and everything. And that just, you know, it was just no hesitation. Like, he was like, I just have to make sure my daughter's safe.
The only fear I really have is them being a victim in the streets. You know, being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Being, you know, careful of their surroundings and who they be, especially in this day and age with a lot of young kids doing a lot of crazy things.
The biggest thing I feared as a father was passing my genes of traits that I have that I'm not particularly fond of to my son that he would suffer through no fault of his own. That's probably the thing I was most concerned with, and I'm still struggling with that today. There are certain things that my son is going through and challenges he's going through, and it's really like watching a video of myself from the past, and in some cases even the present. The way I overcome that is understanding that his challenges are just that. They're just challenges. They're different ways that you have to navigate through life.
There are a lot of fears I had that I'm still overcoming some, but the parenthood thing I wasn't fearing. I was ready for that. Like, it was like when I found out that I was gonna have a son, I understood that ain't no time, like, you gotta get up and get it. So it probably made me work a little bit harder. Yeah, I think that was it. I pretty much didn't have any fear. I just woke up and was like, I gotta get it for my kids.
There was a period where I had a rocky relationship with my children because of certain circumstances. And there was a point where I feared that my children wouldn't understand, wouldn't even like me. But through talking with them, through just being there with them, they assured me, Dad, you know what, I know you tried. Actually, I had a conversation with my youngest son a few days ago. And I expressed to him, I said, well, you know, I'm sorry for certain things that happened in your life. He said, Dad, it's okay. I know you try. And if I shed a tear, but for my son to tell me that, you know, as a dad, you know, it made me feel that, okay, it's not all bad. You know, we all make mistakes. Life happens. But what are you going to do, if an issue arises, what are you going to do to rectify that? What are you going to do to correct that? So, yes, a lot of things happen, but at this point in my life, no, I don't have any fears. I know my children love me. I know they care for me. And I pray that, you know, when I get, you know, if I get old and I get to a point where I can't really do for myself, believe that they'll be there for me.
What was one of my fears as a parent, and it's still there, it's basically knowing that I can't protect them, you know, forever. Because when they leave the house, you know, they're on their own to protect themselves. And when, you know, they grow up to be adults, they're on their own to protect themselves. And I know that's one thing that, you know, I'm not going to be around for forever. So what I do is I teach them, you know, how to defend themselves, you know, how to deal with people, you know, on the outside when I'm not there. You know, don't always rush into it and, you know, be aggressive. Try to calm it down, you know, but don't get bullied at the same time. You know, stand, you know, if you have to fight, you know, but at the end of the day, that's my fear, you know, as a parent, just knowing that, you know, I can't protect them forever, you know.
You said what scares me the most, and I had to overcome. I basically guessing like trying to force a relationship so you could be able to like predict that family moment to your kids, like show them like there can be a family, and overcoming is, I guess, damn. I don't want to say handing my family over to another man, but like trying to get over that is one of like something I like went through that I fed, and I overcame that at the same time, like trying to be mature about the situation and giving my kids, not giving my kids, but seeing my kids with another man, because I feel like I'm stuttering too much.
In the beginning, when my kids were younger than 6, 7, 8, when they were younger than that, I used to enjoy them running to the door when I walked in. And then after they stopped running to me, Dad, after that stopped, after my kids stopped running to me at the door, I had to become a different kind of dad. That dad was more focused on, okay, how are they accepting education and how are they going to use that? And like what plans, what do I think they might like? So I became that dad. I guess that was a time where I was a little bit more of a science dad. And then now I'm the social dad. Like my daughter is 18 and my son is 23 now. So, well, my son will be 23. With my son, I help confirm everything that he's doing right while trying not to be judgy about the things that I feel he's not doing the way I would do them. With my daughter, I'm teaching her, I focus more on helping her understand a healthy relationship. So, you know what? Back to the first question. My favorite moment with my daughter is when she took me to a movie theater to see this movie called Train to Busan at the IFC Film Center. And yeah, I felt like that was the moment that I learned how much she cared about me being around her. And we had a great day. I remember we went to get soup somewhere in the Lower East Side. We were having soup for breakfast, and then we went to see the movie. And the movie was subtitles, and anybody that knows me knows I hate movies with subtitles, but I enjoyed that movie. And sometimes I go online to watch that movie again because it helps me remember that day we shared.
I had this experience with my daughter when she was about 4 years old. We were just kind of hanging out in the city. She had this beautiful pink dress on with these cute pink sneakers and these cute pink socks. And we were just walking around Manhattan, and I remember we stopped at some guys who were fixing the street, and she just kept asking me, "Daddy, what are they doing now? Daddy, what are they doing now? Daddy, what are they doing now?" Now, I don't know what they're doing, but, I'm trying to just, they're putting the cement down now. Now they're putting these wires to hold the cement together. And it was just one of those moments where she's just very inquisitive, and she just wanted to know so much. And then we went to on the Staten Island ferry, went to the other Staten Island side, sat and had McDonald's, just talked all day, took the ferry back, walked around the city, and it was just a beautiful day, a beautiful moment.
My favorite moment as a dad is seeing my son Christopher walk for the first time. It was Easter Sunday of 2012, just before his first birthday, about a month shy of his first birthday. I came home from work, and he was crawling around. I was sitting in the living room. His mom was sitting in the living room. He was crawling around like he ordinarily does, and he was picking himself up on the table leg like he ordinarily does to stand himself up. But this time, he let go, and he was standing by himself without holding on to anything. And at that moment, I'm like, is he really gonna do it? And I looked at his mother, and she looked at me like, I think we're about to see. And sure enough, 1 step, 2 step, and his mother goes, "Oh my God!" And he goes, and he said, shocked him, and he fell right down. I'm like, my baby! And I picked him up, and we just giggled and laughed so much. That's probably one of my favorite moments as a dad.
So my favorite moment as a dad, I have so much, but I think the favorite of all is seeing their smile, their laughter, hearing them laugh, when you award them with something, with a gift, and see that smile, that smirk on their face, is like, oh wow, it gives me a warm feeling, and I have a son, I have a daughter, and they both the same, they'll be like, "Dad, you crazy," or, "Dad, you funny," and they will go on laughing, and then they will call up one of their friends and say, "Dad, you remember that joke you tell me?" Tell it again. So now I have a whole new audience now, to tell that joke all over, and I think that's my favorite moment as a dad.
But keep talking.
I don't know, man. There's really no favorite parts of being a dad. Just being a dad, changing your life, being able to provide for your kids, do things that your parents didn't do for you, having that. I want to say, let's say, put it like this, starting over. You feel me? I'm not starting over my age, but I'm starting over as my kids is me. I'm visualizing them being me, and I'm able to start over and give them everything that my mom's or my dad, whoever that is at the moment, haven't gave to me. So I don't want to say, I don't want to pinpoint what's a favorite moment. Every day, knowing that those 3 kids are my kids and they're the reason why I'm pushing to be able to be successful or just to maintain a living for them that I haven't had. So I would say that's just my favorite moment, I guess, them being born.
Passing along like parts of myself that were either insecure or that not being able to pay attention correctly, being overly sensitive, and other things that I've had challenges with, and passing it to him. So, but as I navigate through it, I help him too, and we help each other.
One thing I learned from my kids is unconditional love. You know, they taught me to love, you know, like really love. You know, we say we love and we use the word love, but when you say to them, it's like, you know, it's like that feeling is different. And then when you hear them, you know, repeat it back, or they come just like that and say, Daddy, I love you. Like, just like that for what I did? Oh, no, nothing. You know, and they reward you, you know, because you're always in their life, you're always doing, you know, and I think that's important, you know. And yeah, that's one thing I learned from them. You know, shed a tear and a tear again. But that's one thing I learned, especially my daughter. She is amazing, you know, and I will tell anyone that's planning to have kids, get a daughter, you know. I mean, a son is there too, and you're getting that same love, but a daughter love, whew, it's different.
So well, we have 2 kids. We have 2 boys. But one of my favorite moments with him and King is, well, King is a genius. Of course, he takes after his mother. So you can't just tell King something. You have to explain, and it has to make sense, or else he'll challenge you at 3 and 4 years old. So one of my favorite moments is King was doing something, and so says, don't do that. Why are you doing that? Keep your socks on. He's also the socks police. You have to have socks on at all times because you're going to get sick or something's going to go on your feet. And my dad is like that too, which is funny. My dad is also the socks captain. So he's talking to King and, you know, yelling at King about taking his socks off and not listening. And King waits for him and he's like, the socks was wet, Daddy. So all the reasons of why you want me to wear socks actually counts as that, because if the socks are wet on my feet, I'll get sick. And Swish just like sat back, really in amazement of this little boy, how he processes information, and he apologized to him. He said, my apologies, King, you're absolutely right. And one thing about, you know, we're West Indian, so one thing I know a lot about West Indian parents is their pride sometimes will never allow them to admit that they're wrong. Better yet, apologize to the child. So watching him take that course, he always comes back and he has conversations with King. And if he's wrong, he'll tell King, my apologies, you're absolutely right. But you have to listen, or X, Y, and Z, but I apologize. So the first time I seen him do that, that was my favorite moment, but I see it happen a lot because King is really smart. So I think that's my favorite quality that I see with him, especially raising young black boys, is instilling that confidence in him of the way he processes his thoughts and backing him and letting him know it's okay to express those things to me. Don't be quiet. If something is wrong, speak up. So I think he's fostering that in King to let his voice be heard. And I think that's such a great quality in a father. Knight is still small. So Knight is 7 months, but just the way him and Knight interacts, or how he just breathes in his life and is always hugging him up, and you know, just the way he loves him. But right after Knight was born, they had to take him to ICU because his breathing was shallow. And Swiss had a moment. It was a sad moment, but it was also a moment to show how much he loves his children. So when they took him to ICU, you know, he was like in the movies, slid down the wall, the brick wall on the floor, crying in the hallway. So the doctor walks up to him and goes, oh my goodness, is this your first child? He's like, my third. So the doctor's looking at him like, you have this reaction every time. But the love for each child is that pure. It's that strength, and it's not diluted like, oh, this is just my third child.
The message I would give to people being a first-time dad is this. Be honest with your kids. Love your kids. Be there for your children. If there's an issue, sometimes issues arise where the parents don't get along. Don't trash each other in front of your children. Do that in private. But show your kids that you care. Because what you do and how you raise them is gonna affect them as they get older. If you're not there for them, they're not gonna be there for you when you need them. So be there for them.
The message I would give my kids, and I always give my kids, is to be independent, always believe in yourself, never doubt yourself, always put your best foot forward, and follow your dreams. Don't let nobody tell you that you can't do it. If that's what you want to do, go out and do it, and be the best at it that you can be.
I would just tell my kids, I'm your biggest cheerleader. I felt like I said the things or exposed you to the things I wanted to expose you to, and now it's your turn to figure out what you want to do with it. And just trust you can talk to me about it all. I understand more than you think, even the stuff you don't know about me, lie in this brain somewhere. So feel free to just ask me questions. There's a lot of knowledge in here.
The message that I would give my kids, that I love them and I will always be there for them, and family, like, you know, that's the key, family, sticking together. Never, and the only reason I say that because, like, the generation nowadays, like, I watch a lot of families, like, get destroyed because nobody know the true definition of family, sticking together, and just, like, you know. So I would tell my kids to, like, stick together whether I'm here or not, like, hold it down. They know.
Happy Father's Day to everybody out there, especially all of the black dads that are putting in work and being there for their kids. I always say that, you know, being a dad is the only thing that I do that I don't have to second guess. I'm good at a lot of things, but I'm very self-conscious about most of it. Being a dad is the only thing that I'm not unsure about.
My favorite superhero is Spider-Man and Black Panther.
And my favorite superhero is Wonder Woman and Spider-Girl.
She likes to go with me a little. One message that I want to tell my dad is that I am thankful for him and he is handsome.
I love him and I'm thankful for him and he's handsome.
Not just with people, be honest with yourself. Do the right thing. Honor your parents. That simple.
I want to give a special happy Father's Day to all fathers, but especially the black fathers who are undervalued and are overlooked. Happy Father's Day to you.
Thank you, Dad.
Happy Father's Day, Daddy. Daddy.
Hey, we got a day, so I appreciate it. You know, we got a day, I appreciate it, you know.